Hey everyone, welcome back to our podcast. Wait, Corinne, what time is it?
I don't know. Tristan, what time is it?
Actually, I don't know. It's Lee, do you know? I don't know.
It's binge time!
This October, we decided to get into the more thrilling movies, like Don't Move. We will be sharing our thoughts and reviews of this week's binge. Before we get started, a special thank you for those viewing our podcast, Binge Time.
Okay, let's talk about it. Don't Move. This movie is an intense thriller about a woman who suddenly becomes paralyzed by a man. The main guy changes his name multiple times to not get recognized or caught. This is not his first time. He is always aiming for women. He always makes up touching stories to connect with Iris, as well as planning everything out beforehand. This is the first time a woman has gotten away, Richard, and has struggled to keep her and hold her from escaping.
You're tuning in with
Corinne,
Talia,
Riley,
and Tristan.
A special thanks to Silver Skies Woodworking for their support of our channel. Without them, it would be impossible to record this. If any of our listeners need custom furniture, accent walls, cutting boards, custom cabinets, they should head over to ViridianNews.org and click the link for Silver Skies. Another thanks to Miss Kelly Moss for her kind donation to the Viridian podcast. And we're always looking for new patrons and sponsors, so let us know on ViridianNews.org if you would like to be a part of our work and reach our audience with us.
Talia, what did you think about the movie?
I thought the movie was really good, and I believe that the cop scene and the gas station scene was the best part, because, so the cop scene, it made me feel, kind of sad, because there was the cop, you know?
Yeah.
And the cop died. He was so innocent, and he was just trying to help out Iris, because, so when they were at the gas station, this lady and the son, so the son got out the car to check on the lady, and you could see that Iris was sad, droopy and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you see a person like that, you know, you should be getting help instead of just looking there.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So the mom got mad and told the son to come back, get back in here and not to go to the car and stuff. And I think the mom got a picture of a license plate number. So when they were driving back to, the woods, because Richard, a.k.a. Andrew at the time, he was getting his car because he crashed it in the tree. So when they went back there, the cop came and he was like, "Hello, sir. What are you doing here?" Because I got a call from the owner, Bill. He was saying something about his truck. I think it needed some repair or something like that. And so he was asking him for his license and his ID. And his ID was expired. So I was just kind of weird. And so he just killed the man with the little crank. I think it was a crank from his car.
Yeah.
And he just beat him up. I just feel so bad for him because he was just trying to help out Iris. So
Yeah, so basically, I feel like the lady at the gas station, she could have done more in that scenario. While you were there with her, you could have done something there. It was good that she did call the cops, but I just feel like she could have done a little bit more.
Yeah. I feel like definitely in those scenes, there was a lot of, red flags raised. That, I would think the cop should have picked up on, or the woman that was at the gas station, but they didn't.
Yeah. I feel like if you see a lady in the car like that, you should have done something.
So with the gas station scene and the lady coming to the car and seeing Iris just sitting in the car, I feel like, with Corinne saying, I feel like she could have did better stuff with the scenario. She could have called the cops or something, the cops, came faster, or she could have went back in the gas station and told the managers, so they can come out and see what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So one of, the craziest scenes that I think was Billy's house. Just altogether, there was so much going on. There was fighting between Billy and Richard, and it was just, also really suspenseful because Richard was literally sitting on the couch talking to Billy, and I was just right there. It was just, you never knew if he was going to find her or something was going to happen. And then the whole fighting scene broke out, and I was like, okay, old man, fight, right? And so then Billy ended up dying, and Richard burned the house down and took the old man's car. And then Iris started pulling on the curtains because she didn't want to burn. So then he found her and brought her back out to the truck, which in that scenario, I just want to know, would you want to burn in the house or keep living? So
in my opinion, I would want to burn the house because if you're paralyzed, you're not able to feel anything or not able to move. So I wouldn't want a man just to keep to keep hurting me, threatening me and stuff like that. Just going through more
Yeah.
Yeah, I would rather getting help because like throughout the end of the movie, he still ended up killing Richard. So that was still good, and she still lived, and she was walking at the end. So.
Yeah, I personally would rather die in the fire because it's like by that point she didn't know if she was going to still live or not. She didn't know if she was going to die or live. And so instead of keep getting hurt by Richard, I would have just stayed in the fire.
Yeah. See, in that situation in the movie, she really did do so many things throughout the scenes and through everything that like she went through.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally think she, by pulling on the curtains and getting out, like it just shows her how strong she is and how brave she was and just going through it. Like I was not expecting her to get out and So.
Also, before I move it on to Tristan, I wanted to say that I loved the beginning scene. It was good, but at the same time, it was just so crazy because when they were up on the mountain cliff, Iris was up there just like she was about to take her life, and then Richard came up there and ended up telling a fake story about her daughter, and Iris really just connected with that, and she kind of bonded with him, and so I feel like she ended up going back down the mountain and not jumping. But I feel like he obviously tricked her into doing it, but she did it because she connected with somebody. Like, she's never really had that bonding. So she ended up going down there. And in the parking lot, Richard was like, are you just going to stand here and wait till I leave to go back up there? And that kind of pushed her to go in her car now. So she went in her car, and he parked, like, really, really close to her.
Yeah.
And she couldn't get in her car, and Richard was like, oh, sorry, I blocked you in. He came out of the car and literally shocked her, and that was not expected.
So the part that got me like a little bit off guard was also the beginning when they were walking back to the car because like in the very beginning of the movie when they were meeting each other and stuff, I feel like that part was good, but it sounded like very suspicious the way he was saying it. So when they were going back to the car and the cars were parked super close together, that's the part when it seemed like super suspicious and things started going downhill from there. And that's when Richard shot her and she got sterilized with the shot and everything. And Richard put him in the car, and that scene kind of made me a little bit mad.
So yeah, I 100% agree with you on that scene. I had goosebumps. I full on thought she was gonna, like I was screaming at my phone that she was gonna get out.
Yeah.
That's when she started getting like her fine motor skills back and like control back a little bit. But I was so mad that she did not, mom and the son didn't do anything. I mean, they did call the cops on the truck because they felt some suspicion towards it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like if I was in that situation and I was the mom or the kid, first thought would be like, okay, this woman doesn't even like look okay. No, what would y'all do in that situation?
I would like really try to like get my strength back because like she was like doing the thing with her fingers like all the time. So if she could do that and she was trying to run around the window and stuff, I would like try and just like really fight my hardest and try and go out the car. So the crazy part is like whenever you think she was about to get help, find out like Richard would come back to the car or back to the situation that they were in, and he would find out and he would be like, why'd you do that? And he'll be getting mad at Iris. So it's like kind of crazy.
I have one question. I really want to know this because I obviously have some personal thoughts. This movie had like really good characters.
Right.
To me, like everyone, like it made the movie like so much more intense and like just thrilling throughout the whole.
Yeah, and plus like a lot of the movies only have like one or two main characters, but I feel like everyone who is introduced in different scenes were like they were so impactful, like everyone was a main character.
Yeah, like it grew the movie.
Yeah.
Tristan, who was your like favorite character? Like who did you find the most interesting?
Well, the character I enjoyed the most was Billy. I really liked his role play in the movie. He was like a really good character, and I was really sad when he died because he was the one to first try and help save Iris. But then, like, in the beginning, when they were sitting in the house, it was Richard, a.k.a. Andrew. They were sitting in the house, and they were talking about like how they needed help and stuff, and Richard was trying to find Iris in the house, and Billy was sticking up for Iris and stuff like that. So then they got in a fight. Richard and Billy got in a fight, which in the beginning when they started fighting, Billy, he was really doing good, and then Richard killed Billy, and I was really sad.
Yeah, I I really liked the cops. I really thought that was gonna be like the final, like she gets away, she's saved, but it wasn't. Like, this movie had so many like twists and turns, and like, I was so mad. One character, like, I really enjoyed Iris in the movie just because I feel like there were so many layers behind her. Mm-hmm. Like, at the beginning, she was on the verge of ending her life and jumping, and because of the loss of her child and just everything, like, grieving. But throughout the whole movie, you just saw her, like, grow and get stronger and confident, and, like, it was just a cool kind of movie to see it play out.
Yeah, I wanna talk about Richard and how, like, he was really manipulative. You could never trust him in, like, any serious situations that were happening.
Yeah.
Right. And he kept lying to so many people. For example, like, when the cop came up to investigate the story, he was just using Iris' story to make the cop believe everything he was saying. But Iris is really in danger, and she was really sad, and she was really down because she really needed the help, and she really wanted the help.
With Richard, like, at the beginning, he was so, like, persuasive and, like, just had that, like, character that, like, made Iris think he was, like, the good person, which was really scary. Mm-hmm. But then he ended up being, like, the bad guy.
Also, with Richard, throughout the movie, he had everything planned. Like, it felt like anything that happened, he was ready. Like, he already had whatever he needed in his car, he was prepared. And in the cop scene, he had a license for the Andrew guy.
Yeah, so, like, he, like, just, like, a backup thing.
Yeah, it was like he had anything that happened, he was already planned for that. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't really like how the cop, he just stand there, like, he could have went back to his car and checked, like, you know how, like, the officers had a little computer in their car?
Yeah.
He could have just scanned the car, but he didn't do that.
Well, I think maybe he just, like, stayed with Richard in the truck that Iris was in because he did feel, like, suspicious of the situation. So maybe he just stayed there to, like, make sure everything was good and to see if Andrew or Richard would run away.
So with Richard, like, his demeanor was kind of, like, iffy because, like throughout the different scenes, he would be, like, kind of suspicious. Like, you could see the look in his face when he was, like, in trouble. So, like, that's when he, like, thought of it, like, of, like, what he was going to do and what his plan was.
Yeah, you could tell towards the end of the movie, it was kind of funny to see how he started, like, kind of getting worried about, is he going to get away? Is this going to be my last time doing this? Like, am I actually going to get caught this time? Mm-hmm. But in the beginning, he was confident. He was rolling through it. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing. Corinne, what did you think?
So my, like, character that I want to talk about is Iris' husband. So in the very beginning of the movie, you saw her wake up from a bed, and there was obviously another, like, a man in the bed. And so I'm just assuming that was her boyfriend or husband. And, like, he was never in the movie. Like, I wish that we got a little bit more of him. I wish, like, they gave kind of, like, a flashback later in the movie of, like, him at the house either doesn't care about his wife anymore, or if he kind of, like, already knew she was planning to go to the cliff that day, or if he at, like, a police station near their house to, like, find her. Something just a little bit more from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that kind of would have been cool to get, like, another point of view of, like, what he thought was happening. Because obviously they were grieving a child. That could have been cool to get his point.
Yeah, I really hope they come up with a part 2 because, like, I hope they make a part 2 and, like, involve his husband the next time in the part 2 because I really did somewhat enjoy the movie.
So, like you were saying with the part 2, another thing I would like to include in the part 2 is Richard's family because they were saying that they were going to come up. They were like, oh yeah, we're going to come up to the cabin. And come up to the cabin and find out he's either dead or wonder where he is. Like, I really want to know
that'd be good.
That'd be so crazy.
What Richard's family is, like, wondering.
So my thing being said, like he was like Corinne said, he wasn't involved in the movie, no whatsoever. And like, I want them to make a part 2, like, also with the husband. And, like, the husband could have tried and saved Iris, but I think they had, like, relationship issues or something, and that's what made their relationship bad.
Did y'all notice that she left, like, everything at her house?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she didn't have a phone. She only had her Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your phone can't connect to your Apple Watch when you're gone for so long.
And I think that is, like, I don't know. I bring my phone everywhere, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm a 16-year-old girl, but I just think that's
maybe
crazy.
She purposely did that so she wouldn't, like, couldn't get a hold of her.
I do understand that because, again, in the beginning she was at the cliff where the memorial was for her son. Yeah. So maybe that's why she left it, just so nobody could get in contact or, like, nobody could make her regret going up there.
Yeah.
Or stop her in a way. But I don't know. What do y'all think about the movie? Like, what would we rate it?
I really enjoy the movie, but I feel like they could have added a little bit more scenes. And they could have, like, explained, like, they could have went a little bit more into detail about her past life and stuff like that, about her son and stuff.
So, overall, we thought the movie Don't Move was rated an 8 out of 10 altogether. This movie was really suspenseful and good in many ways, but there was also some things that they could have changed.
Okay, so to wrap this all up, a special thank you to all the viewers for listening to our latest podcast, Don't Move. And with that being said, sit back and relax to prepare for our next episode of Binge Time.
Overall, we thought the movie Don't Move was rated an 8 out of 10 altogether. This movie was really suspenseful in many ways and really good. There was some scenes and some things that they could have done better.
And to wrap that all up, a special thank you to all the viewers for listening to our latest podcast, Don't Move. And with that being said, sit back and relax to prepare for our next episode of Binge Time, located on YouTube, or visit theviridiannews.org to remain a loyal listener.
And always remember, stay entertained from the Binge Time podcast.